You have to have conversations. And I think it's apparent.
All right, you won't believe what just happened. Picture this scene. The commissioner himself, Adam Silver, simply slaps his fist so forcefully on a table that it cracks. "You crossed the line," he adds, his voice icy as he looks directly at Cathy Engelbert. There are 4 players involved, a complex web of covert directives, and some very frightening dangers. Silver made it very obvious that this is the end of it. And everything we believed to be true about the WNBA universe fell apart in that one instant. This narrative is more bizarre than anything the league has ever seen, so you must stay with me before we go into all the specifics. Things were already extremely tight in this bizarre made-up version of the WNBA. It was palpable in the atmosphere. The players were being cautious. The fans were furious. Additionally, the sponsors were beginning to pose some very challenging queries. However, no one saw.
Worried about her. In all of her statements, it's all like, well, I got us here and I should. Cathy, no one cares. Literally, no one cares. Like how you're sitting right there, that's how we feel every time she speaks. Every time she speaks, us as players, that's how we feel.
And, I think what people need to understand, we need great leadership in this time across all levels. This is a moment we have to capitalize on. So that's honestly what I would say. I think there's, Fee said it all with what she said. And, I think the points she made were...
The impending bombshell. 4 of the league's most promising young players were reportedly cut without warning. There was not a single word of explanation, no news conference, and no statement. The league office simply went dark. At that point, the rumors began to spread like wildfire. This wasn't your average roster change. This had to have been ordered by someone. Someone at the very top. The league as a whole simply froze. Then rumors start circulating that Cathy was becoming quite upset about the players' growing independence in this made-up society. The team's closeness in the locker rooms and the fluctuations in popularity also bothered her. According to the account, she gave a special inside agent a misguided mission. Get these players out of the league as discreetly as possible by applying pressure and scaring them into compliance. However, as everyone knows, such secrets don't last very long.
Yesterday on First Take, you called for Cathy Engelbert's resignation from her role as WNBA commissioner. When you hear Caitlin Clark there, how does that strike you?
Doesn't strike me at all. Same reaction. Cathy Engelbert should resign as the commissioner of the WNBA. And the reason I said that, fellas, is because when a play, and I say that not in any kind of derogatory way, she was talking about Cathy Engelbert directly. Mm-hmm. She revealed private conversations, you understand, with quotes from this lady, the commissioner, about what she said that came across as dismissive, as derogatory, and unappreciative of the athletes that represent her league. And then the person I call the golden goose of the WNBA, Caitlin Clark, you understand, who is box office for the WNBA. Just look at the numbers, look at the ratings, look at everything. For her to come out and said, Fee said it all. She's letting you know that Napheesa Collier didn't lie, she didn't mince words, and she didn't misrepresent what the collective body of the league is feeling about this commissioner and her leadership. You cannot, and then the biggest point, guys, that I made yesterday, and this is the number one reason I called for Cathy Engelbert to resign. I don't care who it is. If somebody calls you out publicly and you're in a leadership position and you've been called out publicly and attacked that way, you don't give what I said was that weak ass response that Cathy Engelbert, I'm gonna say it again because people thought I stuttered just there. I don't know how, because I don't stutter. Weak ass comment. I'm gonna say it one more time. Weak ass come back. That's what she did. When you were attacked like that, what you did was provide fodder.
Ultimately, she is concerned for her. And everything she says is like, well, I got us here and I should. Cathy, no one cares. Really, nobody gives a damn. Every time she speaks, we feel like you're sitting right there. As players, That's how we feel every time she talks. And what people need to realize, in my opinion, is that we need strong leadership at this time. This is an opportunity that we must seize. To be honest, that's what I would say. Faye said it all, in my opinion, and I believe the points she raised were extremely.
The pale, colorless morning light slid across the floor of my apartment. My phone vibrated as steadily as a heartbeat when I woke up. One message after another piled up. Before I even touched it, the screen was filled with alarms, missed calls, and new voicemails. I knew who they were from without having to read them. Instead, I brewed coffee. The kitchen's rough edges were softened by the gentle coils of rising steam. With my hands encircling the mug and allowing the warmth to seep into my palms, I sat at the table.
I didn't answer the phone until then.
My father, Grant Rowan, left the first voicemail. He spoke in a controlled, clipped voice that was about to break. Emberly gave me a call back right away. The second was not as long. Families don't act like this. Attention was held by the third longer tighter. He didn't bother wearing a mask. The automobile has an issue.
Give me a call right now.
I ignored the others and erased them. Next was a note from Serena. Her words flowed frantically across the screen. How did you act? They arrived at the residence. They're accepting it. Dad is enraged. It's your fault. I put the phone face down on the table after reading it once. It is your fault. Since I was a little child, that word has accompanied me, lurking behind every request, unsaid expectation, and quiet moment.
It didn't land this time.
By the time the next notification showed up, my coffee had become lukewarm. A picture from an unidentified number. It displayed our former Seattle driveway. Serena's automobile is being loaded onto a flatbed truck by two men. With her hair disheveled and her arms tightly folded across her chest, Serena stood on the porch, wearing slippers. Grant was in the background, pointing straight at the camera as if I had snapped the photo, his jaw clenched, phone in hand, and his eyes angry. Then came a text. We must speak. Pick up the phone. I didn't. I shut the picture and moved the gadget over to the edge of the table. It wasn't necessary to face certain things twice. I arrived at the office by midday. Sunlight from Denver splintered into jagged reflections across the lobby floor when it struck the building's glass like a blade. With the peaceful confidence that had been growing inside of me all night, I strolled into it. As soon as I stepped onto the technical floor upstairs, my co-founder Kai Mercer looked up. Are you all right? His voice was quiet as he inquired. I gave one nod. It was just a long morning. He looked at me for a moment, but he didn't ask questions. That was Kai's problem. He was aware of the weight of stillness. We met with the legal team, reviewed the product, and then quietly went over the server modifications. My phone was still vibrating in my office drawer at 3 o'clock. I discovered a fresh batch of texts when I eventually went back to it. We need an explanation from you, Grant. Serena, it's unbelievable that you do this during the week of Christmas. My mom only sent one message, Elise. Are you secure? I typed a single sentence after opening hers. I'm all right. Then shut down the phone once more. Nobody got a response other than that. The elevator chimed at 5 o'clock. Faintly, the sound reverberated along the silent hallway outside my office. Strong, deliberate, and all too familiar footsteps followed. The door opened a little and I turned. Grant stood there with a furious expression on his face. Behind him, Serena's lips formed a narrow line. Elise trailed gently, her eyes lowered. My father said, Emberly, and entered without pausing.
We must talk about this.
I remained motionless. There is nothing to talk about. He said, you had no right. We were embarrassed by you. I let the sentence too.
Talked about at the beginning of the season, the high tide lifts all boats or whatever, basically. Like, if you buy into this, everybody is going to eat. Yet you had people fighting tooth and nail the entire season, not wanting it to be this way because other people weren't getting flowers, or she was getting too much attention, or she gets a special whistle, or I'm gonna check her off the ball here just because. and then her teammate cheers for her for throwing her on the ground. It didn't get better. And it's disappointing to me because it's not every player in the WNBA. And I'm sure that there are many players who are happy to have her in the league. And it's like, if it was my league and somebody was coming in and bringing millions of people, like, I would be excited about that, because you know what? That's a chance for me to impress millions of people who weren't watching.
You demanded that Cathy Engelbert step down as WNBA commissioner yesterday on First Take. How does it make you feel to hear Caitlin Clark there? It doesn't really strike me. The same response. The WNBA commissioner, Cathy Engelbert, need to step down. And the reason I said that, guys, is because I didn't mean to be disparaging when I said that about a play. She was directly referring to Cathy Engelbert. Oh, I see. She disclosed private talks, you see, using comments from this woman, the commissioner, regarding what she said that seemed insensitive, disparaging, and unappreciative of the athletes who play for her league. And then Caitlin Clark, who I refer to as the WNBA's golden goose. Do you get it? Who is the WNBA's box office? Take a look at the figures. Take a look.